What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Dragonflight video. How is everybody doing? I hope you're doing really well. Grab your freaking coffee. Drink it. All right? You drink it right now. Drink your coffee. Don't drink something else. Forget it. Listen, I want to tell you about this really fun build. I've been messing around with the Ellie Shaman talent tree, and I think I've come up with what I want to dub the Trinity build. So, what does the Trinity mean? In the case of an elemental shaman, we're talking about fire, frost, and nature damage. Of course, that is the trifecta. And that's what we're doing with this build. It's pretty wacky, okay? I'm not going to lie. It's pretty wacky. But hear me out. It actually kind of just worked. I just ran it in a heroic dungeon. And again, heroic dungeons right now are pretty bad for Ellie Shaman. Just because, like, earthquake value needs time to ramp up. And usually everything dies really quickly. So I was really impressed, actually, with how this performed in the dungeon. Really had a good time. Here's the build. You want fire damage, you want frost damage, and you want nature damage. Here's the two biggest passives on the tree that you're going to be looking at. Master of the Elements. Casting Lava Burst increases the damage of your next nature, physical, or frost spell. So that's Earthquake is physical. Frost is your Frost Shock. And then, obviously, nature is Chain Lightning. So that's what we need right there. That's the core to the build. The other second core is this Elemental Equilibrium. Dealing fire, frost, or nature damage will, within 10 seconds of each other, will increase all damage dealt by 15% for 10 seconds. This can occur once every 30 seconds. So you want to have the Elemental Equilibrium window up as much as possible, and you want the Master of the Elements window up as much as possible. You're going to be pressing Lava Burst all the time. Anytime you have a spender ready to go, whether it's Ellie Blast or Earthquake, you press your Lava Burst first. Elemental Blast is an elemental spell, okay? It benefits from all three schools. So if I buff my Fire, Frost, and Nature damage over here, it's triple dipping on this thing over here, okay? If I was to actually come down here and buff the damage of my fire stuff, which I don't think I have a single point to spare, but if I did, it would also buff the damage of Elemental Blast, okay? When Elemental Equilibrium is procced, obviously I'm getting 15% more damage to that. Boom. When Master of the Elements procs, it counts as a nature and a frost spell, so it gets the 20% bonus. So Elemental Blast, I didn't like it at first. I hate that it has a cast time. Like, it literally drives me nuts because Earthshock is instant, and I love that feeling of it being instant. But Elemental Blast does do a crap load of damage. Look at the damage on this. It does 22,000.4 versus 13,500. Look at that. It almost does double the damage of Earthshock. It costs a little bit more, Maelstrom. Instead of 60, it ends up being 75 because of Eye of the Storm. Okay? And then the rest of your build just revolves around you casting lightning spells, fire spells, frost spells. And I'm going to show you how to rotate through all three of them. One thing I do want to make note of here, I literally took double Stormkeeper because it was working like last week, and they did something on yesterday. Blizzard screwed something up with Stormkeeper, and it no longer is giving me 2 charges. And like I went into a dungeon with this and it didn't work. So there's some kind of error going on. I don't think it has to do with like having details or whatever, but if I press Stormkeeper, it only has 1 charge. So it goes on cooldown right away. It should have 2 charges. So just know this build was functioning even without having both of these up. I could have taken Lightning Rod and it would have worked out fine. So yeah. That's I just want to make sure that we understand that. So let me take Lightning Rod right here. Once Stormkeeper comes back, we'll obviously do it. But let me take Lightning Rod just for the sake of showing you guys. But here's how it works. You basically are going to start out with a Fire Elemental, and you're going to start out with Liquid Magma Totem. Yes, we have Liquid Magma Totem in this build for easy access of the Flame Shocks. We want to get as many Flame Shocks out as we can. That's the point. That sets you up for your Primordial Wave window, and then you can fire off a big Primordial Wave and get a whole bunch of haste from Splintered Elements, okay? Our Flame Shocks are also generating passively. They're passively generating 1 Maelstrom. They have a 100% chance to give us 1 Maelstrom. Again, I could swap out Searing Flames for Call to Flame. Might actually end up doing that eventually. I'm not really sure yet, but the idea is there. You want to start out with something like a Fire Elemental into a Primordial Wave to get your big haste window going, And then you're obviously doing big Stormkeeper, like chain lightnings into earthquakes, but you're always trying to layer the lava burst in between so that the earthquake gets 20% more damage. Then you're going to start into your ice combo, and you're going to do Ice Fury. Sorry, guys, my phone. Let me do that. There we go. Then you're going to do Ice Fury into Frost Shock, and it's going to cleave because of electrified shocks, of course. Anytime you're going to press Frost Shock, press Lava Burst first for 20% more damage, okay? That's how the build kind of works. It has all three elements all working together to do a bunch of damage, and it looks kind of something like this. Let me get to, let me go current. Here we go. It looks something like this. We go, boom, into, there we go. I'll get another Flame Shock here just for fun. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. The beautiful part about this is that we do not have Echoes of the Great Sundering at all, okay? We do not have it. So we are not forced to press Earth Shock. We can just go Lava Burst into Earthquake. And we can go Lava Burst into Frost Shock. Another Lava Burst into another Frost Shock. Another Lava Burst into an Earthquake. See how that works? Now, we are getting low on the haste here. We'll do one more Lava Burst into another Frost Shock. We're going to get our Primordial Wave out again. Get another Primordial... Look, our Primordial Wave is back already, by the way. It's cooled down by the talents that we're taking in that window. Let me do this. I'm not using LE Blast because it's not single target. So just trust me that we would use LE Blast on single target. But you basically want to try and layer your spells appropriately. I'm not even doing it correctly right now, but I'm actually just focusing my Lava Bursts into my... Here we go. Let's do this to get our Flame Shocks back. Here we go. Stormkeeper's back. We're going to get back into that. Also going to do Call the Elements to get my totem back. Okay, here we go. Big damage. You can just Earthquake freely without having to do a Earth Shock in between, which is so nice. I can't tell you how nice that feels. Honestly, it's crazy how good that is. You do want to try and get the Lava Burst in between, but you can just go Earthquake into Earthquake into Earthquake, and it feels really, really good. So, this is kind of how the build works, okay? You're seeing it in action. You want a Lava Burst into that Frost Shock. Then we want a Lava Burst into that Earthquake. Then we want a Lava Burst into this Frost Shock again. Okay, then we want another Lava Burst into an Earthquake. Master the Elements really dictates how this build works. Okay, that's how it works. That's it right there. Let's run away. That's only 4 target cleave. You're going to see Earthquake, big damage. Why? Because of Master the Elements. 20% more damage to physical frost, right? That physical spell. Now, Frost Shock, way up there. A lot of you guys have kept asking me in the comments, like, why do you take the Ice Fury plus, like, why keep incorporating that into your builds? Doesn't it make things more complicated? Well, yeah, but it gives me more damage, guys. This thing is hitting so hard. The Master of the Elements buff into the Frost Shock is making it do 20% of my damage. It's only on 4 targets, which is where it thrives, because it only has 4 target cleave, but it's just really, really crazy how good that is. Then, obviously, Lava Burst with Physical, Frost, Fire, Nature. See how much? It's all mixed. This is the Trinity build. It has all 3 different specs of damage for LE Shaman, which is really, really great. And this is kind of how it works. So let's show you in a dungeon. Let's look at it in a dungeon. Oh, are we looking at the wrong thing again? Why does it do this? Let's go here. Hello, there we go. So I got late to this pull. Here's the first pull here. I'm going to do Fire LE here into my Liquid Magma Totem. Liquid Magma Totem does not seem to work if the enemies are not in combat yet. So I would encourage you, if you're using Liquid Magma Totem, to always press Flame Shock first. Get a Flame Shock out there and then do your Liquid Magma Totem, because I try it right here and it only puts 1 Flame Shock out. So that's clearly a bug, but Blizzard hasn't fixed it yet, so whatever. We're just going to leave it there. So I get my fire damage out. I get Ice Fury going. Now I've got the Elemental Equilibrium buff coming up here. I think I just need to cast a lightning spell. There we go. Elemental Equilibrium is online right now. We're doing 20k on 3 targets. Not bad at all. Again, this is kind of late. It does take a little bit of time to set up for LE Shaman. This is just the way it goes, right? So now I start off with a Lava Burst. I've still got my Frost Shocks ticking. I get so many Earthquake procs here. 1, 2... Aftershock is such a king ability. It's such a good talent. Our Aftershock just, like, is insane. Just how many extra Earthquakes lets us get out. So, again, these targets died a little bit too quick, right? Of course, but that's just the way it is. I didn't even get my LA Blast off here. Here's a big pull right here. I think this goes pretty well for us. Let's check this out. So I get fire locked, but with this build, I literally have 3 schools of magic, so it doesn't even matter. I can just go do the other schools. Lots of earthquakes down on the ground here. I should use Call of the Elements here. I'm getting used to using that now, but we're doing 34, 38k right now. Get fire locked again. It's okay. I can put earthquake down. Not a big deal. 39k. We're almost at 40k there. Liquid Magma Totem's back. I did use Call of the Elements. Thank God I get a Primordial Wave window. We're going to use it right now. Boom, 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 boom. Up to 40k again. Double earthquake right there. Triple earthquake. I should have lava burst in between one of those, but you get the idea. Stormkeeper's back. Everything dies, unfortunately, but imagine if those mobs had lived just a little bit longer. But that's really solid AoE damage there. The more targets you get, the better it gets for you for Ellie Shaman. It's always the way it's been. Now, we're going to test out Elemental Blast on this boss fight, and we're going to see how it is. Again, remember that it costs extra Maelstrom. So instead of it being 60, Earthshock is 60. Elemental Blast is 75, but that's okay. Remember that you can get an Aftershock proc on Elemental Blast. And if you do, you can cast it again right away. I can also cast Lava Burst before I cast Elemental Blast. And as I said before, it's going to give me the Master of the Elements buff on top of it. So I've already gotten about 3 LE Blasts off in this fight, which is really, really good. I get Stormkeeper up for the ad phase, which is pretty lucky. Not lucky. I mean, it's just the way it's going to go. But this guy doesn't, the tank doesn't know how to manage the ads very well. You're supposed to bring them in and have them detonate on top of the boss. So he kind of messed that up a little bit. Everybody's damage kind of goes in the toilet. But we're back to killing him now. And the damage is not very good for single target. But again, this boss fight, he goes immune. So like the damage on this kind of a fight is never going to look perfect. It's just not. It's kind of frustrating. But that's just the way it goes. So we do get a bunch of LE Blasts off here. Second LE Blast right in a row. I have 2 LE Blast buffs. See? In the top corner here, I have 1 Elemental Blast buff here, 1 Elemental Blast buff there. So if you do get the Aftershock proc, it's so good. You get that stat boost, right? Which is really, really strong. So that's that boss fight. Let's move forward. Get to the Swoglet area, which, of course, is extremely dangerous, and people don't really understand how dangerous this is. We're doing 30k, like, right out of the gates. I think I try to put a bunch of Earthquakes down. I try to get a Liquid Magma Totem down at some point here, but again, remember that some more Swoglets going to fall from the sky. We just get Earthquake after Earthquake. There's my Liquid Magma Totem. I think it only hit like 2 targets because those guys weren't in combat yet. Remember, just don't press your Liquid Magma Totem unless the enemies are in combat with you, or else it just isn't going to work out. So I don't like I get almost 10 stacks here of the Swoglet debuff. You don't want that. But again, this is a very versatile build as well. The ability to kite around is so good on Ellie Shaman, because you get, obviously, Spirit Walker's Grace. But you have, like, instant cast spells with Nature Swiftness. Frost Shock is instant cast, so you can do your Ice Fury cast and then just run around Frost Shocking and cleaving everything. Obviously, your Lava Surge is going to make Lava Burst instant cast, which is really great. Get to do lots of extra damage while running around. The tank ran ahead here and sort of left us defend for ourselves. I don't know why he did that, but... And then he, like, wrote in the chat, he's like, you should come down here. Like, I was kiting them down here. And it's like, okay, but just kill them. Like they're up at the top of the hill. Just, why can't we just kill them? I don't understand. Anyway, 25k right here. Get these little mini bosses down. Then we have Goliath Slayer. This is the second boss here. There we go. Start off with Ice Fury. Try and get it out of the way. It's nice to know when the tank is actually pulling, because then you can get it done. But I didn't know, unfortunately, but that's okay. LE Blast comes in here, does a whole bunch of damage. I went from 10k DPS to 14k. LE Blast is just hitting really, really hard, and it's fantastic. Remember, I only have 1 charge of Stormkeeper here. I should have 2. So that would make the build actually much, much better in AoE situations. But we're getting up to 27k here on the boss fight, 28k. Really, really good. Back down a little bit now that the ads are gone. As soon as those ads spawn, though, my God, our damage just spikes right up again. So here we go. I think I have Liquid Magma Totem ready to go for the ads. I'm going to drop it here. There we go. Earthquake. Another Earthquake. I think my lighting just changed. I'm not sure if you guys saw that, but big damage. I get a bunch of Swoglets hitting me, so I got to be really careful here. I have 9 stacks of Swoglet debuff. If I get 10, I die. I did get 10 there, but the healer dispelled me because he's really, really good at the game. So that was good. And we end up at about 18k by the end. Really, really good. Not bad damage there at all. Let's skip ahead to kind of these bigger cleave fights. This is where Ice Fury is really, really good. 4-target cleave, that's where Ice Fury shines. Uncapped AoE is more of an Earthquake thing. But when you're talking about capped AoE, Liquid Magma Totem, and your cleaving Frost Shocks, those are going to be crisp on these kinds. There we go, up to 32k. I don't know how to even get there. We're doing 18k right now. We got a big Lava Burst chain into some Frost Shocks. Boom, right up to 32k immediately. Like, it does so much damage, guys. The Electrified Shocks, that talent does so much damage. I'm not even kidding. It's crazy in these cleave fights. Very, very good for Ellie, because, again, Ellie Shaman has, like, big Chain Lightnings into big Earthquakes. That's your big Chain Lightning is not uncapped, but Earthquake is, and that's your uncapped AoE. But, like, having a solid cleave option as well is really, really cool with the Electrified Shocks, and I like it a lot. You can see, boom, damage goes back up to 30k. We're in that sort of window that I've talked about in all my videos where I think this is a great place to be. Doing between 30 and 40k on small AoE packs like this where it's 4 or 5 enemies. That's a really good amount of damage for you. It's going to push you through the keys perfectly fine. Let's get to the next boss. 25k here. Oh, this is the last trash pack here. I think I do get a Stormkeeper off. Here we go. Into an Earthquake, into a Chain Lightning, into an Earthquake, into an Earthquake. Try to get the Lava Bursts in there. There we go. We're doing it properly now. Into an Earthquake, into a Chain Lightning. We're up to 38k. Keeping up with the Evoker there. We're fighting for first place. It's really, really good to feel that, guys. It's a great feeling to have where you're competitive in your damage against the other guys. But you're not, like, blowing it out of the water. You really don't want to have the case where it's, like, bugged. 63k LE Blast to start things off. 63k LE Blast. Like, hello? Absolutely bonkers. So Hailstorm comes out. You have to hide behind the ice here. Lots of people don't know. I used my wind rush there, the gust of wind, sorry, to get where I needed to go, which is really good. Gust of wind on Ellie Shaman is absolutely crisp. It is definitely the way to play it versus Spirit Walk. So I would encourage you guys to take that for sure. Stormkeeper, I'm just staying alive here. Our teams died because they didn't understand how the mechanic worked. That's fine. Here comes Hailstorm once again. You need to hide behind this ice. And then I want you to notice something. See, she spits out these icicles that go towards each player. The iceberg can intercept it, but I've seen, I don't know if it's bugged, but sometimes the icicle will go through the iceberg and still hit you. So you want to hide behind the iceberg initially and then move away from the iceberg as this missile is coming out. Okay? And then you won't take any damage. Our damage here was okay. I got 2 LE Blasts right in a row for double the buffs. I could have done a Lava Burst in between. Probably should have, to be fair. But I think I was capped at 100 Maelstrom, and I really didn't want to overcap Maelstrom. I wanted to be really careful about that. But anyway, always try to start 72k Lava Burst. If I'd had a 72k LE Blast, if I'd had a Lava Burst before the LE Blast, 20% more damage, guys. Just remember that. It's always 20% more damage. So there we go. Happy with the results there. Damage was okay. We did get some sort of trinket, so we're getting some good secondary stats. Here's the final gauntlet before the final boss. Big damage, big LE Blast right out of the gates. Man, LE Blast hits like an absolute monster truck. It is crazy. It is crazy how good it is. Get some Lava Burst going here. Into some Earthquakes. AoE. The first section went well, and then we got some big AoE going here. Triple Earthquake for me right in a row. 3 Earthquakes are down on the ground right now. Look at our damage just ramping up. 26, 27k, 29k. Absolutely bonkers. 33k, looking good. And then I think our tank, I don't know what happens, but he can't get aggro here, and he ends up dying. A bunch of us end up dying multiple times. I'm going to skip way ahead here because we have to do the long run back. Again, you don't really want to die in this dungeon, or you have to run all the way. I'm not sure if they're going to keep that in, but you have to run like all the way back if you die, which is pretty frustrating. And then we make our way to the final boss. So what do I think about this build? The Trinity build. I think it's quite good, guys. I think it's actually quite good. I'm just going to talk about the talents. First of all, I think Elemental Blast is actually a really good spell. It does a lot of damage. If you do get the Aftershock proc on it, it is completely ridiculous because you can do another Lava Burst in between LE Blast just to have that Master of the Elements buff. That is core to this build, getting the Master of the Elements buff rolling before you press Earthquake or before you press LE Blast. kind of before you press anything important, you want to layer in a lava burst there, and you basically want to wait for the lava surge procs to come in. That's the best way to do it. But that provides a ton of damage. You combine something like Master of the Elements with Elemental Blast, it's a lot of single target damage. A lot of AoE damage comes from Master of the Elements plus Earthquake, and then Master of the Elements plus Frost Shock. If you cast Ice Fury, of course, your next 4 Frost Shocks do more damage. And then with Electrified Shocks, they cleave. And I cannot stress this enough, it does so much extra damage. Electrified Shocks is disgusting, guys. So you get that Master of the Elements proc, and you push it into that Frost Shock, and the Frost Shock will reward you with a ton of damage. It'll do so much extra damage for you. Finally, rounding out the fire damage, you've got the Primordial Wave, which will add a Flame Shock for you. And then to add even more Flame Shocks, you've got Liquid Magma Totem, which of course is going to add those 3 extra shocks. I would say right now it's bugged, and you need to be careful when you use Liquid Magma Totem. Make sure that all the enemies you're attacking are in combat already, or else you might have a difficult time applying the actual damage buffer. But that gives you the fire damage, and of course you have fire damage plus frost damage plus nature damage. It all goes into elemental equilibrium, which gives you a 15% damage buff, and that's the Trinity build. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What do you think about this Trinity build for Elemental Shaman? Do you think it's cool? Do you like the way it looks? Do you like the damage profile? Let me know in those comments down below. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.